Good evening. This is Chantaye McLaughlin, and Shaka's going to be joining us soon. Shaka Sankofa. Tonight we have on a special guest, Miss Eartha Harris. She is running for City Council in Baltimore, Maryland. And beyond that, this woman is phenomenal. The work that she's done through the years around the Million Man March, as well as her actually standing for public policy change in the area instead of just being out here rah-rahing and protesting without any solutions. This woman is going to bring it to us tonight. Let me see if I can get her to come on in. Miss Eartha, can you turn your camera on? We can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am. I can hear you. I just can't see you.
Oh,
You know I'm
wait a minute.
about
Let me
to
get
when I
into some
start hearing
lights.
voices and no faces.
Let me see if I can fix this audio. Hold 1 second.
Yes, ma'am.
I think I came in and hit the wrong audio setting. Video setting. So let me get back in.
Phone does not.
You got it? There
you see
she
me now?
is. I can see you
Okay.
now.
Okay.
So how you doing
here.
tonight?
How you doing? Let me see if I can turn the volume up a little bit. Oh, it's been one of those days. Let me get my hair together. And I've been rushing.
I was like, shower, water bottle.
I know. It's like not enough time in the day before I thought I had a lot of time. And then before I turned around, it was 9 o'clock.
Understood. So how are you tonight, other than having a lot on your plate?
Yes. Other than that, I think things are going great. Just had some good calls about some of the things we're doing here in Baltimore. So that makes me happy. We're pulling together some business networking, like I said, to see if we can try to do business better with each other and how everybody can move along and benefit, and not just a few of us benefit.
Okay.
I'm going to see if I can put this on my...
I'm always a fan of reverse affirmative action. I tell people we have to learn how to scale our companies and our businesses. And instead of us being the 1% that's hired, we need to be the 99% and hiring 1% for us to be sustainable, for us to keep being scalable. So how's this campaign going? I
really haven't started yet, because what I want to do is I want to hold a conversation this time with setting the agenda. I think the things is that we run too many campaigns, but we don't really have an agenda.
Yes, ma'am.
So I want to go back to what is the real agenda that everybody wants when they're looking for leadership and they're looking for the particular candidate to do what. Because most people, like I said, cannot do anything that we can't do for self. They only can keep an eye on it once we create it, whatever that is for ourselves. Then you send some type of representation down to these particular political entities to make sure that they can keep an eye on whatever our agenda is, right?
Yes,
come back and notify us that property taxes going up, our schools are not being educated, all the things that keep happening to us. We can really help the person that's in that position, because they'll make that person run around with their neck chopped off, and before you know it, you don't get anything accomplished. Just trying to get one thing accomplished. So right now, I want to focus on, like you said, creating the agenda. And just like you guys are doing, find people that already have an agenda and maybe utilize that opportunity to strengthen those agendas and not recreate a wheel, because it's already turning.
I have Shaka on the other line. He's logging in. One second, Mr.
I was trying to log in on my computer. Let me see if it may work better on my computer than by my daughter giving her tablet. Y'all not live yet, are you?
Yes, ma'am. We're live. 9 o'clock. We're live while you're fixing your hair. People get to see the real you. I
Hold
ran
one
for
second.
city council in East Point last year, and they
Oh,
kept
did
getting
you?
mad at me because I wanted to do champagne and conversations with the candidate. They're like, "You ain't supposed to do that," or have my birthday party at the cigar bar. I was like, "God knows who I am, so should y'all." Okay, there you go, Shaka.
Uh-huh. Okay.
Okay, I'm hanging up. So yeah, Miss Eartha, I think it's amazing what you're doing. When I was running, some of the things that I did or said that I wanted to do was impact public policy around, like, I have lived experience with mental health. So a part of my platform was to make sure that all first responders, CNAs, um, and that they were trained in mental health first aid um, hold on, there we go, as well as
There you
in
go.
suicide prevention, trauma informed care. And so what it looks like is I didn't win, but where am I going? There we go. I didn't win the election, but what ended up happening is um come this month, and I think it's like next week or the week after, I have to check my calendar. I live in Clayton County, Georgia now, and I'll be working with the first responders to create a video. So the first hour of the video is me sharing my story so that they know how to interact when they come across somebody in psychosis. The second half is me working with the EMSs, the nurses, because in Clayton County, they have a nurse, they have the trainings, they start training kids in high school so that when they graduate, they can go work for the fire department with tuition reimbursement and everything else. But they have one of the only programs in the state of Georgia designed as they've designed it. So the second half of the training, I'll be working with the firemen to identify their stressors, their triggers, their coping skills. And then the third hour, they'll be taking quizzes so that they get 3 continuing education units. So I didn't win, but because I had a platform of what I actually want to see changed in the community, now it's being implemented.
Right, right. And that's the key is that sometimes we like people always focus on the win. And I always be saying to myself, um, so you're talking about the seat or you're talking about me winning some type of real constructive um I want to say I did. So for instance, when I didn't win, I told people, "Oh, I won that. You the one lost because I own my house. I own my business. I'm doing all the things that y'all complaining about." Now, if you just want to focus on I didn't get the seat, that wasn't no loss for me. It may be a loss for you guys because you're the one that's still complaining about a person that's in the seat. So
Right.
what are we talking about when we talking about winning and losing when we're putting ourselves in certain positions? And then why do we as a people always try to discourage each other about who we are and how great we are, right? So it's like one of the things that I realized when I ran for city council is how you don't have the love of your people. You know, it wasn't like they overwhelmingly, oh girl, oh that's wonderful, oh wow, you're running, oh my goodness, it was like, really? Like that wasn't for you. You're gonna run for city council. Like, uh what qualifies you? You mean you're not no scholar, you didn't get no master degree or whatever. Their mindsets of what they want you to believe about your own self is because the lack of faith and love we have for each other. So,
But I
like if you're not Oprah, your show on here or our talk show, because we wasn't sanctioned by, no big radio station or no big news station, they'll think this is a podcast. But as soon as you get popular and you get on something big, you the same person that was on this podcast this months ago. But
I
that's how
think
we have to go back to our people.
but I think it's not so much, it's not so much personalized, like they don't want to see you succeed, because the first thing that we go to as a culture is our people don't want to see us win. People can only see what they can envision for themselves. And if people have limited sight for themselves, they can't even fathom you saying, I'm gonna run for city council. Like one thing, this white guy actually told me this, and his grandfather was a Ku Klux Klan Grand Wizard. He said nobody wants to be their friend still sitting at the bar. You party every
Hmm.
Friday, you hang out, and now you on TV and they still sitting at the bar. Same opportunities, same situation, but they have a different perspective
Right.
of what they can do. And so instead of keeping it as, you know, what you're doing, I wish you the best of luck. I couldn't see myself doing it. They say, "Ooh, girl, you gonna do that? How you gonna do that?" And they'll be the last ones to contribute to your campaign. But as soon as you win, they're the first ones there looking for a job.
And why would you wait for a job based on someone winning a political position? Because that's why I said what we're demanding from politicians doesn't make no sense. Because I'm not going to wait for somebody to get elected to get a job.
I agree. I'm not gonna wait for anything for me to get whatever I want out of life.
Hmm. So,
Okay.
so that's why I said we should base everything around the agenda. First, we should create an agenda, and it doesn't make a difference who run or who don't run. It just makes a difference. Can we get our agenda done, whatever that is, whatever that looks like, and do we have a qualified person that understands how the process works? Because when you get in these offices, they vote, right? So if it's 12 people down there, and I'm one of the 12, you're never going to get what you think you're going to get because we have to vote on whatever we're trying to pass, right? So what you got to do is you got to convince our people to do not divide your communities. Like they might say, what district you live in? 12th district, 6th district? It doesn't matter. We all get together. We ain't got time to divide no lines. Don't tell me that because I live in a district that you're the representative for the first, he's the representative for the 12th, and I'm representative for the ninth. And then we fight among each other. You see what I'm saying? So we
Yes.
have to be able to say, if you and me and him has the same agenda, when we vote, we get a report card from everybody that's voted. So when we decide who's going to keep the seat, we go by the report card. See, because once you get in office, you're too busy to watch. You don't even know how half of them vote down there. But if we demand a report card, when that person come back out and ask for your vote, you just be like, let me see your report card. Let me see, did
Mhm.
you vote for the things that we told you to vote for? Then you don't have to put no money in people campaigns and fund people all this money to try to get their message out. They told me, they said the reason why you should raise money is because you need the money in order to make signs and get your message out and get your platform out. I'm like, what? I thought this was a people platform. Why do I have to convince a bunch of people that already should know what the platform is, what the platform is? You see what I'm saying? So all of this stuff that we doing, we really have to start paying attention, guys, because the political game that they play, say like when they talk about the Democratic Party, Republican Party, Independent Party, if everybody is white, they don't care who wins because their agenda is the same, to save the white race. So that's why they keep us fighting against different parties, because don't care if the white man is a Republican, a Democrat, or independent. White people are always going to benefit in this country, and they have done that for years. But they make us fight over who's going to be the best candidate that will not make us realize that we're in a country that never wanted us, that never put us in position of understanding who we are, how we get back to some form of normalcy and sanity, because we want to act like we're not sick. And you got to understand, if you're a group of people who've been raped and killed and this, and this, how can any of us sit here and look at each other and think we're functioning full? We're not, we're sick. So then we just constantly cure ourselves from the sickness. And then we don't have to be mad at each other, right? Because we create all of these concepts, and people be like, okay, where is the Black agenda? And where are Black people in this country right now? Most of them are at jobs trying to make it financially. And if you look at why we're not willing to die, it's because most people ain't willing to leave their jobs. Because if you scared to leave your job, you're definitely going to scared to die. So how you going to be able to save any type of entity that you're fighting for, and you're not even willing to walk away from your job? Because you scared. You say, wait a minute, if I leave my job now, how am I gonna keep my house? How am I pay the car no bills? How am I take care of my family, my children, whatever, whatever. So having the people not gonna walk away. So when you don't have people walk away from their jobs, then society know they got you. Because if you're not gonna walk away and lose a job because you went to school and spent all that money to get the education, became Dr. So and Professor so and whatever, how you going to walk away from that because you're in an institution that the same people who gave you that degree will disbar you, will discredit you, will do all sorts of things because they telling you that you're so stupid that when you do something, they will tell people that you're no longer qualified to do it. Like they're the ones that hold that education that you memorize, because that's all you go to school is memorize somebody else's thoughts and concept and be able to give it back to them so they can tell you whether you memorize it on the A, B, C, D level, right? So if you memorize it very good, they give you an A. If you don't memorize what they told you, they may give you a C or D. So now they saying, excuse me, doctor, you robbed the bank. So we're going to disqualify you of being a doctor. You no longer can practice being a doctor. You're like, really? Really? Because I stole money? And that's how they did the young lady here. She's a state's attorney. I don't know if y'all heard about Marilyn Mosby. She was the
Yeah,
one who
Marilyn Mosby. Yeah.
yeah, she prosecuted the those police officers, and they showed her, don't care how long it takes, we will ruin you.
Yep.
So here you in a city that they said that you took your money out of your 401k plan and you weren't supposed to because the only way you can take money out of your 401k plan is you had to have hardship. So you lied because you really didn't have hardship because we gave you a raise. Then you went down there and you bought $2 million, two homes that
In
were worth
Florida.
$1 million or whatever, right?
Mhm.
So then what happens? The community get mad at you. Cause like, dang, look at her. She's lying. She's a thief. She's this, and this. Then my thought was like, damn, why you didn't give me some of that money? And can I come stay down at your house now that you got two homes down there? I don't give a darn. To me, you ain't take enough. But
Right.
but 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 now check this out. You've been a state's attorney and you world known all over the world. You one of the top women out there, and they ruined your career because they told you that you took all of your money out of 401k based on their rules, that you broke their rules. So they're gonna ruin your whole life.
Yeah.
She goes to court, I think whatever date she goes to court. They just
Yeah,
said
she's getting
postpone.
ready to go to court. Yeah, she's getting ready to go
Right.
to court.
Okay, and this is why I tell you, Shaka, I'm mad at the black men in our community. Because, and you remind me that I told you this. I still say if I was to ever be attacked, I'm going to see a bunch of y'all outside saying you got to get to me to get to her. Because then we're not protected as
We're not.
anybody, especially as black women. I don't have to go to court. I'm not saying nothing to them. The laws that they made for them to win. Because rules are only made for losers. It's not made for society, the better society. They tell you that because that makes it sound good. Or we make a rule that if you steal or you do this and you do that, that we're making it for society. What? You're the one that stole and killed us and did all this. Why are all of y'all locked up? Why I have to be locked up? Because until I see some of them locked up, I don't care what we do criminally, is not good enough because none of them have been locked up. They just showed you Trump did all that stuff and he ain't never even locked up. So they make rules because they know if you was in your right sense of mind and somebody smacked you, you're gonna knock the hell out of them. You see what I'm saying? But if they told you you're supposed to turn the other cheek, if they told you you can't hit this person back or whatever, or something's gonna happen to you, then you're not in your right mind. You see what I'm saying?
Candidate
So we
Harris, have
have to
you
go
been looking
back.
at my record?
Huh?
I say, have you been looking at my record? I got three
Great.
dead
They say
dockets.
great
One
minds
for
think alike.
aggravated assault, one for terroristic threat, and one for possession of a
Right.
knife and commencement of a
Because
felony. All
like
carrying
they told
20
you,
years.
great minds think alike, guys, and that's why we have to continually find each other. Because what they do is they, just like slavery, they will keep people apart from each other who's going to bring a solution to their people. Because it's easy for us to not pay attention to whatever that's going to be, and that's why I told you I try to be fair to my people, but we're losing, and we don't want to admit that we're losing, so we keep pretending like we're winning, and we're losing. But once we understand that we lose the game, we get back in the boardroom like most people. and we figure this thing out.
But here in Shaka, I want you to interject too. Here in Atlanta, you know what's having us lose? These black elected officials who are sitting high and looking low. We got some of the most trifling elected officials on the planet, and they look like us, but they don't think like us. They don't vote like us. They don't. They like we got a We just did a rally on Monday
We
for
started to
Jabril
build
Robinson,
internationally a lot. I saw
and
it in the back
Jabril,
office. I was like,
he um he actually was. Hold on one second. Julius would hurt me if he saw Gregory running around. But we had
Mhm.
a rally, um, and the young man was shot execution style in the back of the head. He wasn't even under arrest. He was leaving his girlfriend's house, domestic violence dispute. She actually said he didn't do anything. I don't want to press charges. He's already left the house. They went and chased this young man down, pursued him, shot him in the back of the head. It's been 6 years. They have all of his property. Keisha Mosley, a black DA, has not prosecuted one police officer during her term, refused to prosecute the police officer. And this is normal here. The Fannie
Uh,
Willises, Jimmy Atchison. She want to
right.
go after all these rappers. She needs to go after Jimmy Atchison. She needs to clear up my dead docketed charges because I've had 7 organizations look into why I got a false indictment with no victim, and the black DA won't clear up these charges. So it's like,
Because you just answered your own question, because they didn't clear up the charges before you got your charges. There's a lot of people that's going to be singing the story, and when people get away with stuff, they keep getting away with it. Just like you said, the only reason they did George Floyd is because people knew that the resources and the things they put around it made them had to go. But if you still think about it right now, that's died down,
mhm,
because they already know. I told you, we as a people are not willing to die. So
right.
don't care what we say and how we say it, it's going to keep doing the same thing to us. Because see, the person in their right sense of mind would be like, you shot my friend in the head, I'm going to shoot you in the head. But you can't go shoot them in the head, because they will shoot you, because they willing to kill you. So when they are telling you, until you're willing to die because we're willing to kill you, do not say nothing to me, because you're not going to get the result that you think you're going to get, because you can talk and tell me how wrong I am and how terrible I was and all the stuff that I did. Until you can actually do something about it, don't even have a conversation. And you have to remember, all of these elected officials are put in office by people. So don't care how terrible they are, you got to first understand who put them in there. Who
I
put the
worked on
person in
some of
there?
their campaigns, so I'm just as guilty. And I'll say
Right.
that, but
And
I
we
also
guilty
say,
because we
until
put
you're
out,
willing
this
to
is why I
die.
told you, if you was working that campaign and you was working it based on the agenda, you could even chastise them. But if you work in a campaign based on what they say out of their mouth and what they say they're doing and won't do, then you are falling into that mindset, because a lot of people want to find charismatic people, because charismatic people make you feel like they can do something that you can't do.
Mm,
So I'm telling you, if you cannot survive and save your own life, ain't nobody can do that for you. Now, what you do is you say, "Hey, Eartha, I need you to stand here on the corner and be on the lookout, because I built this house, and you let me know if somebody come in ready to burn it down, or you do this, and that." But if you can't build a house, or I can't help you build a house, how are we gonna tell the guy across the street, "Look, we need to build. We need a house built. We need a house built." Anything, and I ain't gonna build a house. What I'm gonna do is trick you out of your land and kill you, and then I'm gonna build a house.
right.
So we got to go back to, let's talk about strengthening ourselves as individuals. Self-determination is the number one thing that will get us out of this. Whatever's happening to us, we have to be self-determined to come up with our own solutions. When we get powerful, we can create power. If me and you and him was a millionaire, then we wouldn't even be having this conversation, because we'd be writing our own radio shows and all the stuff that we have our own news. As you see, even Roland Martin and all those guys, they kick them off. Anybody that's trying to talk big, they kick them off the radios, they kick them off the TVs, because they are not going to let you to disseminate information that will empower people. right?
Right.
And then they really make sure that you don't build no institution. So every school system, every public school system is a representation of us being weak and not wanting to create our own educational system. And people can go around and use all the excuse in the world about, well, wow, they got the money, they got this. Okay, so you really willing to ruin your child's life based on the fact that you can't create a school for yourself. And they stupid because even Jada Pickett homeschooled her children. All the rich people homeschooling their kids. They ain't even sending them to no institution. So if you want to live like the rich and buy their jewelry and buy their lifestyle and weave your hair up, well, look at some other stuff they doing too,
Mhm.
creating wealth for their kids. The kids don't never have to go get no resume and say, "Hey, I'm looking for a job."
Right.
So they teach us the wrong thing about wealth building.
Great.
Financial literacy. But
Mm-hmm.
um but back to what you all were talking about, far the the politicians that look like us that sell us out. This is not what they because you have slave masters, and you have not just politicians but gatekeepers, period. Those who are taken and are paid not royally, but that are paid a significant amount to have a certain amount of privileges to ensure that all other blacks remain in subordinate, deplorable, povertized conditions, because black death pays, whether we want to acknowledge it or not. Black death pays. For example, I was just talking about the young brother, the music industry. How
Mm-hmm.
when these rappers are systematically killed after they sign these 360 deals, and then they take have these insurance policies taken out on them by the record execs. Because we always want to talk about the rappers, but I believe in going to the source. And when they say the white man, I always say which white man. Because on my show, I point them out. I show pictures of all of them that are largely responsible. Because our people don't own any record companies. They just make us feel like we belong to something, or like we have something, by giving us labels in these kids' names. But they are the shot callers. They own the company, the Clive Davises, Jimmy Iovine's, Ted Fields. Those are the those are the culprits of all of this. And so when you take a young boy, because rapping is a vibration. It takes extreme talent to rap, because you telling the story, but you're putting it in rhyme. So it takes a lot of wind, coordination. It takes thinking. It's a lot that's involved in that, because everybody can't rap, as you can see. But when they pick those certain ones and get them out of the mud, and I'm never gonna be mad at them for taking some money to get their people out of the hood. But it's what comes with that. Now, we can go back from Big L, Pop, uh, Biggie, Young Dolph, all of them, all of those that have been assassinated, King Von, and so many others, that there's when they're deceased, they make more money. Well, they're not making money, but the record companies make 100 times more when they're murdered. Because right now, each rapper, most of us didn't even know what a Young Dolph and Moneybag and all these people were, the ones that have been murdered, until until they've been assassinated, set up, framed, murdered. They cash in on insurance policies. White man goes to the house and plays like he's so overwhelmed with grief that your son was such a superstar and all this is a big loss. My condolences. But if you really want to send your condolences, get a family get a mother her son's publishing.
Give them the masters.
They're not gonna get the masters.
Mm-hmm.
That's not,
But
but the publishing, because look what happens when they die. Now this boy, what's his name?
Pop Smoke. No. The one that
No,
just died.
PNB
Oh,
Rock,
Candy.
PNB Rock,
Yeah.
PNB Rock. Now he's gonna sell about 5 to 10 million albums within the next 2 weeks. So where does that money go?
Right.
And see, there are 360 deals when they get, well, we all know what a 360 deal is. It's really a death deal where
Yeah.
anytime you use the bathroom, they get a piece of everything. You can't do a commercial, you can't do an endorsement, you can't do a book sign, you can't do nothing without breaking them off. And they give you what they want you to have off your own blood, sweat, and tears. So um
But
this
but
black.
but this is where I tell you guys we still gotta go to the source, right? I went to Africa, right? And like you said, art is a certain vibration, whatever. In Africa, they watch you from when you a baby. A baby. They can tell a genius from a baby. And they create a whole institution around it. So what you're talking about is not where we should start, because that's where we should stop. Now, what you need to do is build institutions, entertainment institutions, that we cultivate our own artists and we give our artists all that you're talking about because we institutional build. The reason why these rappers are in the situation that they in is just of all those people that you name that has an institution in which they can have a channel distribution. Because remember, just like I told you, how you got a politician in office is tied to people. How these rappers make all that money is tied to people. So if they can get people to buy stuff, especially us black and white people buying that, it's because you did not create the channel of distribution. So if you create the channel distribution, which is again creating an institution, just like Amazon. Amazon found a way out that everybody wanted to sit at home and push a button and order their things. Nobody wasn't paying attention to, yeah, that convenience and whatever is not building anything for you, is building again that system. Same thing for Uber.
Mhm.
We was
Right.
hacking and we was doing all, so everything that they see that creates wealth for people, they institutionalize it. So let's go back to square one. When that kid is, before that kid is even born, before we even give birth, we got to have a man and womanhood training. Because just like people want to argue about whether somebody's a certain type of gender, whether they say gay, lesbian, whatever, it doesn't matter. Because you can tell me a rose is called orange and an orange is called a rose, but it still has the same functions that it has the function. When you touch it, some thorns gonna whatever, and when you eat the orange, it's
Mhm.
gonna be tasting like whatever. So we argue because they keep us in this crazy mindset, right? So what is the purpose of reproduction? I don't care if you're gay, not gay, or whatever, that we're going to use in our village, in our institutional building that's supposed to be benefit for us, right? Because if you two men want to get together and we have this big old farm and ain't nobody producing, nobody to work this farm, then you can be gay all day long. But right now, we need some human beings to come out of somebody to make this thing keep ticking.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
that's why they
yeah.
want you to argue that point, because they want to keep us in that crazy mindset. So now we say we identify first who's the we. When we come together, we identify what is it that we're trying to develop and create. And we must utilize our own self-determination. We can't say that we want something and we can't provide it for ourselves, whether it's the land, whether it's the food, the water, the building. We have to be able to say, okay, we're going to go over here and get this land and we're going to live on this land and y'all can go over there and do all that crazy stuff that y'all want to. The next movie that's coming out is a movie where they show you that they attack Wakanda. Because remember, Wakanda was showing what would happen if black people were never enslaved, if nothing would have never happened to us. This is how we will be living. We will be geniuses solving all these problems. Now, the second movie is coming out. I just saw the previews. They show how they found out about us and they started to attack us. You see what I'm saying? Even the Warrior King movie that they're showing the ladies getting ready to kill them people because they attack us. So now we institutional build, but we institutional build with understanding that we're going to be attacked. Back in the day, they was building forts because they knew they was going to be attacked. That's why you see the old movies, they build forts around them because they know somebody's going to try to come get them. take over their kingdom or whatever. So we got
Right.
to be like, okay, when we build this stuff, what army, what things are we putting in place so when we be attacked by our enemy, we more likely can kill them than they kill us, right? And then that's how rules of conduct was created, because the village is saying to people, we have a certain rule of conduct here in this village, how we keep ourselves strong. Like I said, you can be gay all you want to, but you better go over there and have some babies by that woman, and so on. And they created their own rules because they was trying to survive. And so we create our own rules because we're trying to be in the survival mode. And they pass down generation on generational of wealth until they was attacked and taken over. So when people are attacked and taken over, they lose what? Their culture, they lose their power, they lose everything. So you somewhere in somebody else's village, and they treat you like you the dog because you're not in your village, you're in their village, right? So that's where we have to have our mindset, understanding that we totally have to go out and say, what is what we're trying to do, totally be self-deficient on that, totally to understand that now it's going to be the government attack you. They spray something in the air, make sure we got COVID, make sure we got the monkey flu, whatever they trying to do to us, they're going to constantly try to kill us because they know that the only way that they're going to win is they got to come up with rules that will stop you from winning. Every rule that you
Yeah.
see that these politicians make, they only make it because they got to say, how can we stop these people that would normally survive? Don't care what hits them, they be the ones that survive this crazy stuff. That's why people wasn't overwhelmingly taking COVID shots or whatever they taking, because they were surviving. But we didn't create our own doctors, our own trust factors, or scientists or whatever. So we always caught in this. So now I'm saying, let's refocus. Even with this podcast, we got to get all of our media under one umbrella and create our own media outlet. Don't tell me you don't know. So if you don't know, you're not listening to the Titan Knit Radio Show. They're not listening to your Yard Stream show. You're not listening to this, like listening, because you want to turn on TV and they're gonna talk about the weather and Trump and these stars all day long, and you're gonna miss the information that you should know about, which is how to survive. The
Yeah.
information we have to provide to our people is about survival.
So this show
Absolutely.
is actually on. That's why it's in the corner. Our Black Media, which is a
Mm-hmm.
network. So it's a bunch of different shows. There's the Rabble that's before this one. Two therapists and a mic. From prison to from the pulpit to what's the name of that show? From the pulpit. It's a bunch of shows though. The
Right.
Watchdog.
Mhm.
It's black. Um, not entertainment, but information all day, 24 hours a day. And
And that's why we said we got to make it more impactful, because this is why I tell you, I'm not criticizing, I'm just telling y'all the truth. I didn't even know y'all exist. You didn't know I exist. So that
mhm.
means we got to do a better job. So if
Oh,
media
I knew
is
you
not,
existed.
oh,
I
you
knew
know I
you
exist.
existed. You know
But we
that.
got to do, did you know I had a radio show too?
Yeah, because you
Okay.
remember when we did the Stop the Mandate rally down at Freedom Plaza, and you was down there. You was doing a radio show in the building over there at the
Oh, okay.
hotel.
Okay. So that's why we gotta be able to pull these together so it'll be like an impact, like we be known like Radio One or we be known like BET. So we have these things, but the reason why it's not as impactful is because we got to get them on that level. And that's why I said if everybody come under one umbrella, we can share information, we can share guests, we can create the movement. I told you October the
Right.
16th, this will be our 28th anniversary of the Million Man March. And I tell the brothers all the time, they're not even talking about it. You know why? Because they want y'all to forget that happened. Because if you think about it, that is the only powerful thing that has happened in the last 28 years that everybody physically witnessed with their own eyes. We physically saw it, guys. It's not like they talking about Jesus, they talking about Martin. You wasn't there. We just keep hearing the story, Malcolm X. But why aren't you constantly hearing about a Million Man March? A million plus people showed up. That was just on the mall. Then a trillion people heard about it, the whole world in different countries or whatever. But yet, every year when I commemorate the Million Man March here in Baltimore, we start with a sunrise prayer. The brothers They don't show up. I said, why you don't show up? Why you do it so early? Oh, it's 6 o'clock in the morning. I said, well, why would you start a story when the most powerful start of the story is when the sun came up? That's when everybody saw cement. You remember? If y'all remember. When the sun came up, people were like, oh my gosh, look at all these people already at the mall. So we should start there because you want people to understand that when it was so dark and everybody doubted and nobody really didn't even know what to expect from this Million Man March, when that sun came up, yeah, you saw that impact. And then you had all of these brothers come, and it was like they say, it was peaceful, it was love, it's this, and this. Now, when you walk away from that, nobody's talking about that. Nobody's commemorating that. So after I do the sunrise prayer, then I do a breakfast because it's all about us remembering and uniting with each other, like you said. And you tell me the stories, email I may forget. We got to constantly remind ourselves of the journey before 1995. We got to remind ourselves of 1995, and we got to show ourselves now. Every time the media comes to me, I try my best to humble myself because the media always want black women to be always in front of black men. They play that game on us all the time because they know that we're strong. That's why you get ready to see the woman king and all that sort of stuff. But we have to be smart enough as women to say, excuse me, this was called a Million Man March. And then I always point to whatever brother that I'm around. I say, hey, he wants to know what came out the Million Man March. So I showed them you. Because each man should step up and say, I'm what came out in the Million Man March. I'm not talking about Farrakhan. I'm not talking about Ben Chavis. I'm not talking about all those speakers that y'all had. If you want to know what came out the Million Man March, I'm getting ready to tell my own individual story. Because as you become legacy and legends, we got to stop doing what white people. The white people pick certain heroes and sheroes for us, constantly repeated those people over and over and over again to us, like there was no one else during Jesus' time that was Jesus, or no one else during Martin Luther King time that was Martin Luther King, or all these great people. So if I only just identify, just like you say, all of these rappers, but we only identify one or two rappers as a great rapper, don't mean that it was other great rappers. You see what I'm saying? So we have to make sure that everybody tells their own individual story. You were there. A lot of kids were there. So I did a little clip and I'll try to send it to you. It's called The Men of the March. My goal was each individual person, a black man, would tell their story before, during, and after the march. We put that in a documentary. We put it in that National Museum over there in DC. And somebody would key your name up and you come up and you tell your own story. You say, oh yeah, before Million Man March, I was a brother doing this. And then I heard about it from Charlie, or I heard about it on the radio show, or I was part of organizing, and then I went to the march and this is what I experienced with those brothers. And then right now I'm doing this. Then you'll see what came out of the march. But if
Yeah.
you try to
Right.
generalize it in that picture of, hey, Minister Burhan, oh, it was a great feeling, the sun shining, nobody will really get the real understanding of what impact the march made on your life or other people's lives. And then, remember I told you about institutional building?
Hmm.
Go to any of these schools and see if it's a book with your face in it, with your story in it. Go to any of these schools and see if they telling the Million Man March story like we know they should be telling it, because they're going to institutional that story into marginalizing it like, oh yeah, that was just like another event, right? And it wasn't for those people who really understand the story. So we go back and we have each individual man make them understand this is your march, this is your history, and you are what came out of the Million Man March. Don't let them put that big picture about what Minister Farrakhan's concept or what he thought it was going to happen. Because I told you, I organized on the national level. We didn't even know it was going to be that successful. And we had local organizing committees in all these different cities, but people weren't giving up the money because each man was supposed to pay $10. So when you saw that big trash can out there and people say, oh, y'all collected all that money on the mall, where did the money go? The money went to pay for the mall. You think they let us come into Washington, D.C. free? That thing cost like $5 million. They had screens and everything, right? And the brothers did not pay. We put out there that each brother was supposed to pay $10. People just came. Because it's open space, so they just was kept rolling up in there. So, but those are the little things. Like, remember I told you they will distract you. And if you look back on history, all they talked about was the money, what happened to the money, Farrakhan, da da da. So they can get people discouraged about what they really actually saw and experienced was there was 1 million+ people for whatever reason, because each one of your guys have your own story. And of course, a sneakily women, we was there too. But again, we're gonna focus as this was called a Million Man March. But each man has to tell their own story for us to put perspective on what they're feeling and what they have generational passed on and what gets, remember I told you what gets me to the point right now as a black woman that I don't feel secure. I walk in parts of the village is burnt down, the women are raped, the kids are doing whatever. I have to say to myself, what type of men did they have in that village? What
Mhm.
happened over there? Because
Right.
nobody don't look at stuff in the village torn down and say, oh, well, what was the women and children doing? They literally look at the village and say, what type of men do we have in a village that DC looks like this, that Baltimore looks like this, that Atlanta looks like this? Is because they want to keep the man unorganized. And they kept y'all unorganized to this date, and it's 28 years later, because they know if for some way y'all find that ingredient, that y'all rise
Yeah.
and you be like, look, brother, we got to go to this corner and give this brother an ultimatum. Because there's no way we're going to have all this killing in our town and not make sure that it's them killing them. See, y'all can't, they can't even find the killer. So I say to you, you men, you need to step up because these young people that's getting shot may not be getting shot through no gang violence and all this sort of stuff. They try to, oh, because he's a rapper. Like you said, they might be getting
Right,
rid of him
right,
because of
right,
insurance and
right,
this and this. But
right.
also, they can get to those young brothers. You know why? Because you haven't gotten to them. You guys should get to the rappers before they get to the rappers. You guys should be able to control how they are signing up and being able to expose their talents and skills. Because if we're not putting on the shows and we're not putting up the money so they can get on stages and stuff like that, they're going to go to the entities that do that. If you can't pull that brother back and say, look, in our village, you can be gay, but we don't wear no skirts. Or in our village, to the women, you can be whatever, but we don't do this. We people were controlled by the community. That's why you didn't have a lot of people could just have a baby and walk away. They made you stay, whether you want to call a gunshot or whatever. They were like, you made that baby, you're gonna take care of that baby. Now the brothers walk away, they don't even have other brothers pull them up and say, man, that's not what we do. I ain't
Right.
saying that you got to marry this woman or whatever, because if you look at my Mooney twins, they teach people that really we have to be a society of I forgot the word polyandry or whatever, because
Polygamy.
even if we was a great village and we didn't have enough men for the women, why should women be deprived because somebody decided that you're only going to have one man to each
Right,
woman, right?
right,
So
right.
then you don't get to have children, you don't get to have the love or whatever to the women. And they even show you back in the day they had women that had a lot of men. So it all depends on the purpose and whatever. But society, white people build everything around sex, so we get confused because it's all about sex, 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 sex. It's never about purpose. Remember, I told you if we was on some type of village concept, we have to produce kids. We have to produce people
Amen.
because we'll vanish if we don't produce anybody besides ourselves. Because they give you a false sense of reality, thinking you're gonna live forever. You're not gonna live. Don't care if you're a billionaire, you die. Everybody dies.
But I think we
Mm-hmm.
know that we have a specific time here. It's not us. It's them that think that they're immortal, but and they try to practice immortality through science.
Mm-hmm.
But
But they leave legacy, even though they practice immortality. That's why they call it Rockefeller or this. They leave legacies. We don't leave legacies. We have to develop ourselves. When we leave this, we left something for someone else to build on. We
well,
die.
we actually leave the legacies. It's just not the torch is not just picked up because there's
Mhm.
no way we could be where we are today if a legacy or an abundance of information and energy wasn't passed down to us. It's just that we, and I can't speak for all black men, but I can speak for
Well,
a lot of them that
can I
they,
ask you this question though, since you said that? And
okay,
this, and then I hope you take this positively. So you
okay,
said we would not be where we are now. And that's why I'm telling you, we are where we are now because we have not done the right thing. This is not a good place to be. This is not a good
right,
place. And I have that with the brother. They like, come on, give us credit. No. If we were in our right minds, we would not be having this conversation. We haven't passed down the legacies. I just told you in 1995, you had a legacy that you still have millions of people who experience, and we're not even talking about it because we have to go back to understanding that some truth is the truth. We got to get back to why aren't we this great people? Why do every time we do something, it's like a struggle and a fight? Why are we talking about killings and why are we talking about the things that's happening to us? Because we don't understand our legacy. Our
mm,
legacies are fighters. We kill people who try to kill us. That's our legacy.
that's
And when
yeah,
we get that in
yeah,
our mind, we will function different than we function today. The average person, black people, black folks, we're caught in an economic struggle that we will not let go of these jobs. And we will not survive in this world if we keep holding on to a job because that job makes you understand that the materialistic things that you acquire is going to suck
that's
your life
true,
away from
that's
you.
true, that's true. And you know, that's some good information. I don't know where you say taking personal. That's just you just passing some good information. I'm not one of them
Yeah.
sensitive. I ain't emotional, so
Okay,
you know,
good.
I'm
Right.
always willing to incorporate any type of energy that because once I stop becoming receptive,
Mm,
then I'm really not
Hmm.
existing. So
right.
and that's my
Okay,
journey. I'm
good.
always searching, and I'm always a student. I don't care whose feet I sit at if it's going to benefit me and it's going to raise my level of consciousness and my growth and development, then I'm going to adhere to that. But once again, we have to continue. Um, what has been, when we say legacy and stuff has been passed down, I'm talking about far as the direction that's been given to us by people that came before us that have lived in the spirit, the spirit of our ancestors that
Hmm.
um, we've allowed ourselves to be derailed and just completely brainwashed and manipulated to where we hate the sight of our own reflections, which are us. And
Yes.
so we have to detox ourselves because I like I said on my show that a lot of people that proclaim to be leaders, in order to lead, like you were saying, we have to clean ourselves up first before we can
Hmm.
go out and even make any suggestions to anybody and give anybody any type of direction. And we have to stand and remain and stand on these foundations. Unfortunately, there are, and this is just my opinion based on my experience, it's been more stronger goddesses out here that are standing up than the brothers. And it's not because, everybody's locked up or on drugs or anything. You have a lot of our brothers that are straight cowards that have been that have Stockholm syndrome and that refuse and are terrified, like you said about the job piece. They don't want to give up their toys for future generations because I'm not here for me. I'm here for those who are going to come after me, our children, grandchildren, and and leave something for them to build on besides just a whole bunch of vibrational noise. Give them a foundation to build on. Show them help them develop an economic infrastructure and show them financial literacy, that is not just all about money, but it's all about self-preservation first, and then what you do with yourself, your family, and the community. That everybody has to, um, try to make everybody benefit, make everybody, because like I said, today I had to give out so much food solo, and a lot of the young brothers, like I said in the show, that the narrative that they paint, that and a lot of our people are buying into it too, about our young people, that they just, when they see them, they just all weed smoking, gun toting, gang banging thugs, and that's not the case. It's only a percentage, and I'm talking about on a larger scale. It's only a small percentage, but what they do is push the narrative and influence the masses of people, that all of our young people are like that. Because I know a lot of young people that never been in trouble, that are in school, or that they're working, that they're home, take care of their parents, and they're not even into sports. A lot of them are freedom fighters, and out here, and some in my organization, that are pushing towards and understanding and allowing themselves to be instructed on what manhood really consists of. But the media, they don't show, the young brothers that graduate from Harvard. They don't show the young brothers that, that are out here working and driving, mail trucks and stuff like that. Not that, I don't believe in this, the plantation stuff either. I just don't believe in reporting and working all my life to make somebody else a billionaire. Then you give me a gold plated watch and a cake from, the local supermarket, and say I was just a good slave. I'm That's not me,
Right.
but they've taught our people that this is the way to go, and that's your way to be successful. Because we got a lot of young black brothers, but primarily sisters, that are CEOs. Because it's no secret y'all stronger than us. It's no secret that y'all have carried the load for so long, and y'all have survived so much um uh um economic abuse, and all sorts of being in all sorts of povertized situations, not just uh um financially, but poverty is you can be povertized here as well, you know but um it's a lot of brothers that are doing the right thing. But see, they push this, and a lot of us believe this, that every time we see a young brother with dreads, that we just take on the assumption, based on how the media portrays our young people to be, all
So
killers. And
so so I just want to interrupt. So what I'm
okay,
saying to you, and is that's why I went to you guys and said the most important thing is institutional building, right? Because like you just said, we're learning. So if you're born as a baby and you're placed in an institution that teaches you all that stuff that you just said, one of our solutions that we have to have is we got an institutional build so we can teach. And once we teach, then they grow up with a different mindset because they're not being taught by their oppressor.
yeah,
So
I
what
understand that.
happens,
Yeah,
you see what I'm saying? Because while we have all of these great people that you're talking about that's doing all these great things, is not affected as a movement because we're not taught a village concept. You see, a village is benefiting from everybody's resources. You're the carpenter, and you're the electrician. You're
and
this,
that's where the great
but it's
divide comes in at. That's where
right,
the division comes in at, because they're not instructed with, you're right, with the village concept. And this is
right.
the thing that I've been implementing in DC, that they have refused to even consider, is re-putting vocational schools, trade schools back into the city to
But that's
teach.
why I said let's not go that route. What I'm telling you, I don't want to go that route no more. One of the things that they showed us with COVID, just like we're on this Zoom call right here, We put it
Mm.
back in there and we say, you go and sit your child down in front of me and I'm going to teach them XYZ. So once we keep coming up with solution, we already know the problem. We're in it. We're in a structure that's never, ever, ever, don't care what we do, what we say, is going to come up with something that you think they're going to come
No,
up
the
with.
institutions going to belong to us. They're not
They
going.
don't
They're
belong to
not
us.
going.
They don't belong to us. That's why
No, I'm
that's why
saying
we
that
fool
no,
ourselves.
the ones that we create will belong to us. Will be
Oh, you
and
talking
this
about
is
right, right. The ones that we
and
create.
they'll be developed by us because once
Right.
again that goes back to the child. You teach this child that this is what's ahead, and you have that village concept. By the time they're of age, and those that are older than them, and then the economic infrastructure that our people have. If we can get them on board because we can finance everything that we need. We can basically finance, but like you said, unfortunately, it's people in our age bracket that are thoroughly convinced,
But
that
but let's not get our age bracket. For instance, I have an institution here. They call the Watoto School, right? And I
hmm
think you know Brother Inhotep. So what we
yeah,
do, we identify them and strengthen what they already have. So we go back. Remember, I told you the first thing we had to do is determine who's the we. So if us three on here, and then we say, okay, we talk about institutional building. So first, let's identify institution that's already doing what we say we need done. And I know what their problem's going to be. Like most institutional building situations, they don't have the resources to create the impact, to create the movement, right? Whether it's a physical building, whether it's money, whether it's whatever they are. So what we do, we identify, okay, you got the first thing that we need, the we. We decided we want to identify somebody that has a curriculum, an institution that's starting from when a baby is born, and we're going to redirect resources to you to continue to do what you do, and we're going to keep piling that on till you come big. Like I said, everybody podcasts talk about it. All the radio shows talk about it. We put them in every little thing that we do because all of the other people who are doing the same thing is going to call us and say, wait a minute, I got a building, got a building. And we're going to say, yes. Glad that you identify. We're going to put you in our database because we're going to create a method that everybody can get a piece of the pie. See what happens once you start, just like I told you, each one of you men got your own story. So now you're talking about a million stories out there. How do we help? We start using technology, right? So then, like I told you, whatever the curriculum is, we create a podcast where anybody that's around the world want to sit their child down and learn from us whatever we think should be implemented in that child's brain is going to be on a Zoom call like this. And you ain't got to pay no private school, no charter school, no all of this. See, they throw rules to these people who are trying to say, well, I want an institutional build. Then the same people who's holding you back with their own institution is going to say you got to have certified people, you got to have this, you got to have all these things in place because I told you they're always going to create rules because they got to get you to lose. Now, again, they're not all bad because we have to also create our own rules because we got to make sure our kids will be safe. So we're going to put some things in place and make sure the person not a molester, the person not teaching our children the right thing. That's when it comes back to self-determination. We have a purpose of teaching these children a particular skill and mindset because we're getting ready to pass down the village to them, and they have to be able to have certain things to make sure that the village is never destroyed or never lost. So that's what we're teaching them. We're not teaching them, oh, you're just a doctor, so you can buy a Rolls Royce and buy a big house and ride around and live
right,
wonderful.
right,
You're the doctor that's going to make sure that the village is eating healthy and not poison, or when they are poison, you can cure them and so on and so on. So we create that, and we have plenty of people out here that talk about holistic ways of medicine and stuff like that. And but they keep us going to these doctor's appointments because there's not enough people out there that you can go and not pay an arm and leg to if you wanted to go a holistic route. So those are the things that I think we could put in place.
So,
well put. Go
real
ahead.
quick, the show is usually an hour. And we've gone over, and Julia said we can go 90 minutes because you are giving so much needed information, and it's a call to action for our Black men. So thank you for that. Julius is
You're
the
welcome.
founder of the platform, Our Black Media. So he said that you are doing a call to action for the Black
Call to
men.
action. And again, that was the theme. Tell them after this, thank you. But I try to keep that on the forefront because once we understand the history of the Million Man March, that's what they did. They told every brother to go back. It was a call to action, and you can read it in the history, the do things in their community. So we have a nonprofit organization. The nonprofit is called Projects Millions More Movement because I wanted to make sure that we could give people an opportunity to create their own project. It doesn't, like you said, all of these men are unique individuals. They have different concepts and different ways. So we didn't have to have one nonprofit that would be something that would just fit the shoe of the Million Man March. So again, we will this October, which falls on a Sunday, we'll be kicking off the 28th anniversary. To me, the most important part about that, we need to start participating because when the 30th anniversary come, we shouldn't be trying to prepare for the 30th anniversary and just landmark things like that. 30th, 50th always be big, and I try to get the brothers to focus on what do you want that 30th anniversary to look like, so we as women, because we're great organizers, we can help them facilitate what that should be. And we need to have that conversation now so they can understand that, yes, it was called a Million Man March. Let's make sure we keep it on the forefront. Let's make sure the call to action has the action around it, which we will help them get the resources that they need. Because you can't take action and just be talking and running your mouth. Action
Mm-hmm.
means resources. So we got to get these guys the resources so when they take action, we'll be able to see the results that the community is looking for.
Now,
And if
let
it's
me ask you this: is the on the 16th? Is it just for all men, or is it
No,
for?
because it's a commemoration, we make sure that the sunrise prayer is welcoming everyone. The reason why we know that we have many, many different religions and we have many, many different spiritual people, but also that was a proven point. Regardless who you are, man, woman, or child, that was a proven point that something was going on that was more powerful than man that day. For those of you who know the Million Man March, so the spiritual sunrise prayers for everybody to get us in the good understanding of what these men must have felt standing in the dark and they saw the light. When we have breakfast, that's a time for, you guys can be on the menu. We need to reflect. We need to hear stories. We need to hear our history. We need to reflect because as we get older, like you said, pieces of that get missing. But once
Right,
we
right.
we have people talk. Now, at the end of the evening, they do have an all men meetup. So I think that will take place around 7. But after we have breakfast, we have an event that we have in Baltimore once a month. It's called the Black Mall. And we have all of these Black businesses in one building. Just so happened this year, that event falls on October the 16th. So we will take advantage of the opportunity to again have people come down there to this building where we have all of these Black businesses, and we will have a seminar upstairs talking about taking a better business approach. How do we, as a society or a village, take a different business approach of our people in the village who are businesses, that they create these businesses also so the community can strive, right? So we have too many businesses right now that's Black owned, Black operated, but they don't give back to the community, or they're not getting the resources that they need to stay open and stay successful. And a lot of times they're not even marketing and people don't even know that they even exist. So the sunrise prayer is 6 a.m. 8 p.m. you come to breakfast. We have a little program. 3, the Black Mall opens. You can spend all day shopping, all day seminars. at 7 in the evening, the men need to meet and greet and understand that it was called the Million Man March. Last year, they had a big round table and they talked about the mental illness. We don't tape it because you want people to talk freely. And this brother named Darius Stanton, he felt it was important for the men to just express their feelings and whatever you feel like as a black man. And it was really, really powerful. I think this year they do still want to talk about strengthening the black man economically so he can get us a step up on owning home ownership and business ownership, because that would make the village stronger if we can get a lot of our black men into home ownership. The home ownership program in the United States is geared a lot to women. That's why you see women mostly have these houses. But we need to make sure that in order for a man to really feel strong, he has to have a piece of land, a foundation of his own. So we're going to strongly push getting black men into home ownership, and also every person and woman or man right now is in a good place where we all can create businesses for ourselves and be able to provide the community with a product or service and be able to flourish without worrying about a 9 to 5 job. So
Mm.
that
Okay.
will come out of
And
it. And then hopefully like the 30th anniversary, some of the men, hopefully instead of a million man march, hopefully is looking at a millionaires march.
mm. And I keep calling you Candidate Harris because I know you said you ran, but I'm putting it out there of you running again. Um,
Yes.
so Candidate Harris, one of the gun clubs did reach out to me tonight, letting me know that they want to provide security. Um, and so I'd love to put you in touch with them as well.
Yes, definitely. And I talk about that with the men of the march, because tell him a thank you, because like I said, everything I gear that I'm saying came out of Million Man March. We should always have security on our street. Here in Baltimore, they literally have people in a booth on every corner. So when you go in the John Hopkins area, it's the safest place in town. I have told the men time and time again, why don't we get enough money to have men on our corner? Why don't we have his security company or any security company protecting our community? Because when somebody shoots in our community, why is the community running in the house? Every black man should be trained when they hear shooting, they should run out of the house. So when the
Mhm.
police come, hopefully there'll be two bodies, the one that got shot and the one that y'all shot. So your word will get out through the whole community. Do not go in that block because they will kill you. They don't
Mm.
have you coming in shooting their people and then leaving and calling the police, and the police swear they can't find you. They don't know where you at. They don't know what happened. The guy got out of the community because when y'all heard a shot, y'all just ran too. Everybody's scared like butterflies. People should
Yeah,
be sitting outside and somebody shoot. Everybody should pull out a weapon. And the
but
guy be like, "What in the world? What happened? You do not come into the neighborhood and shoot us up. That's not how the village works. That's not how
yeah,
we work, guys. Grandma should be able to sit on the porch and enjoy the sun, and the kids should be outside hopscotching and riding bikes and whatever. We don't even got our kids coming outside because we're afraid. And they tell us to be afraid because they're taking the land. So once you move out of the city, they move in. And y'all seen it happen in DC. Crime is always going to happen in the world. The thing is, we have to get back to the village concept. We should always be preparing ourselves for an attack, even if whether it's attack personally with us killing us or it's attack from our enemy killing us. How do we
yeah,
walk around and just be killed? Because our men have not properly said, we are not going to allow this anymore. We train our women, men, and children. So when somebody comes into our neighborhood and shoots, we come out. We do not run in the
Right.
house.
but
And go ahead.
you've mentioned a lot tonight about people being afraid to die, and I think it really comes down to a lot of these people are afraid to live. Until you become liberated, you realize that we all ain't none
Mhm.
of us getting out of this alive. But what
Right.
you gonna do with your life? Are you gonna leave the legacy that you worked a 9 to 5 for minimum wage and that's it, or are you gonna stand up for something? It's like we shouldn't.
My girlfriend stayed in the house all for a whole year. Ended up in the hospital. She called me from a hospital bed. She said, "Girl, I tell you, if I get out of this hospital, I'm going to run around with you everywhere you go. Because I stayed in the house. I tried not to go out, and I'm in the hospital because they tricking you. So you stop your life because of COVID, and you didn't go nowhere, you didn't do nothing, whatever. Meanwhile, they was making more money than ever. And a lot of people are so, like you say, afraid to live. Then I can't live like that. I'm not going to be stuck in the house because I'm afraid to go out because I'm going to catch COVID. I'm going to find me someone that looks like me, a black person that looks like me, and say, this is how you need to build your immune system up. This is how you need to do this. And if you get COVID, this is what you need to do. And that's what the talk we was having among each other. We were curing each other. We were giving people remedies and stuff like that. So we don't have to be, our water, just the other week, they told us they had E. coli, whatever, in our water.
E.
I said,
coli.
right, but check this out. The majority of people wasn't drinking the water anyway. Most people go to the store and buy bottled water, right? Then they say, oh, well, if you wash yourself or whatever. Okay, if it get on your skin, this whole environment is polluted. So it's on your skin every day. So
But
all of
the
the stuff
difference
that
is
we
they were
keep talking about, it's going to be monkeypox. It's going to be
yeah,
some other disease. This country is diseased. It got plenty of disease. They didn't even tell y'all about all the diseases. Now, what we have to do is understand that the immunity system that we had is getting weaker and weaker because we're not going back to doing the things to keep our system strong. Our system is one of the strongest systems. That's why we keep moving on, don't care what comes out of here. But we are weakening our system because we monitor ourselves how they monitor themselves. The stuff that they do to stay alive is we don't have to do the same stuff. But we have to understand that some of the things that we're passing down is replenishing us of what was keeping us alive in all those type of environments. So again, going back to like we gonna create these learning institutions. So again, we teach our kids what to eat, how to exercise, how to sterilize water, how to do all of these sort of stuff so they can live in the environment. These people were traveling all across the country, guys. Some places were burning hot, they learned how to live. Some places was ice cold, they learned how to live. Some places in the desert, they ain't have nothing, but they learned how to live. So the migration of people adapted to how to survive. We are not taught here how to survive. We're taught to get a job. We're taught to get educated. We're taught to go buy a nice house, car. So nobody's saying, oh, the real thing when the baby is born is to say, look, I got to teach you how to stay alive. Don't fall down the steps. Don't eat this poison. Don't do all this sort of stuff that we got. These kids got to make it through life. Still are trying to grow these children up and giving them all these rules and regulations because you want your kid to be smart in school. You want your kid to graduate from college and get the good job, and so that's what we produce so far.
yeah,
But we can redo it.
yeah. I was just gonna when you were talking about the toxicity, I was thinking about the environmental toxins of what they're not talking about with COVID and monkeypox is what are they doing with the testing kits and how they're ending up in our communities. So now the scare is over, but now you're starting to have people that look like us with COVID. And we've been able to make it through the whole whatever it was, the man-made episode, and now people are catching COVID
But
just
are
because.
they catching COVID? Because remember I told you, they tell you have COVID. Can you prove them wrong because you're using their own testing? We got to create our own doctors because people might have been already sick with COVID and don't even know it because you, as you quote, didn't get tested. The thing is that it's not about COVID. We are living an unhealthy lifestyle because more people are dying from diabetes, high blood pressure, heart disease.
Mhm.
So they just throw COVID out there because they like scare tactic methods with us. Anything that can scare us, they get us winded up. But the real health problem is overall mental and physical, because that's why you see our people overweight. They got some guy called me the other day. He checked himself in the psyche ward. So we are psychologically damaged and we have physical damage because we have to go back when we institutionalize and start working on those things so we don't have to rely on that system, because that system, like I said, there's so much stuff that they're not telling us that it'll take us all night to really figure it out. But we know that if we got somebody amongst us that can tell us something that we trust, then those are the people that we have to develop. Whatever those physicians are, or those doctors, or the whole pastor people, let's find them as we build this, so we can trust them. Somebody told me they killed Dr. Sabi because of what he was trying to educate people with. So they kill people. I told you they would
They
get
do.
rid of these people that come to our world. But if we create an institution, that's why they created the institution. They knew that if they created an institution, don't care what happened with them, as long as they can funnel people through the institution, they would always survive. We have to learn the same thing. If they kill you or kill me or kill him, we have the institution that's still going to be teaching whatever we said that we needed our people to learn, and it's not based on a charismatic person or a Barack Obama or Oprah Winfrey or whatever these people, Jay-Z. They keep us in that mindset because they know if something happens to a Michael Jackson or Prince, we just boo-hoo and we feel like, oh, there's never going to be another Michael Jackson. There's never going to be another Prince. So they see how they got us psyched up. But they were okay, but they still was part of that establishment. That's probably why they got killed, because Mike, don't care how talented he was, they got that brother so psyched out that he turned white. Prince
But
was so talented that he
that he
did whatever
but
he
we
wanted.
don't but the thing about Prince is, and God rest his soul, they don't talk enough about how he got that girl when she was 11 years old and groomed her to be his wife. So we
Right,
got to talk about all of that foolishness that takes
right,
place too. And
right.
it's like we want to memorialize and make everybody an icon and make people sit high and look low. And the reality is, everybody's
Hmm.
out here doing the best that they can with the demons that they have, but we got to talk about those demons sometimes. And we got to call each other out and be accountable for those demons. So that if
Right,
you see somebody going down the wrong path, instead of letting them hit a brick wall, say something. There's a brick wall there. Stop. And
right.
instead, we're allowing a lot of this to go based off of genius. R. Kelly was doing what he was doing years ago. Back when he was popular, just in Chicago, people used to talk about how he would drive past the schools. So now we're here because what? He's crossed over. He's taken on mainstream media. He's able to circumvent a lot of the 360 deals because he can make a forever lasting video and put it on social media and make money off of it based off of the
But
fact that
also,
he looked
but
like
also, what about Kelly? What about R. Kelly's life? He was institutionalized because he was raped. He was this. He was that.
Yeah.
So you can start at where they want you to start, because they the one telling you the story about a sick man who's also a part of a sick culture. We all are guilty of all of that, because
that.
we were people who were stolen, we were raped, we were this, we was that, we did all, and then our family structures and rape. They had a
Mhm.
lot of incest in the families, a lot of things were happening in the black family that everybody was hush hush. So they destroy people when they want to destroy people. So they bring you up R. Kelly when he gets old or whatever, probably want to take
Right,
his money and his records, because they knew he was that way back. But like you
right.
said, remember I told you just how we get people in office, how we get rappers. There's always going to be people tied to those people who you see on that level. So all those people on that level who made Michael Jackson, Prince, R. Kelly, Jay-Z, Beyonce, or whatever, those are the people who's making those people. Don't care what we say about it, but it's people making those people on that level. But if we
Right.
can go back down in our level and we pick somebody that we know, or we pick somebody and we make them big. But when we don't spend our dollars to go to that concert, and when we're not making our own music, when we're not training somebody that was damaged because somebody did something to them, and give them the right help. Because this guy tells me all the time, and then I got it. Hurt people,
Hurt people. Right.
Mhm.
right? So we not looking at people that's incarcerated or doing the things they doing. What happened to that person? Why is they acting like that? Why are they so hurt? Oh, because you didn't pay attention to him when they was 5, 6, 10. Now you looking at him when he's standing on the corner with his pants hanging down, smoking a cigar or whatever, selling drugs or whatever. But all of those people were tied to grown people.
Agree. So
right?
we got
So the
about 2
grown
minutes
people, we don't do our jobs to produce a product that grown person becomes a positive product. But
left.
we're blamed with person when they get grown. They say you're not a good product for our village because you do this. Okay, village, you was the one that created me. Because how was I get on the way with all this stuff in the village, right? Because I didn't just turn the drug addict yesterday or the whatever yesterday. I grew and you saw. So the village concept has to come back because even in my neighborhood, we don't know each other. I don't know the kids. I probably can't never even say nothing to the kids because the parents probably cuss me out. So the village concept has to be created, guys, because if we don't identify ourselves as the three village people, when we make the rules up, can we follow our own rules?
So I'll say, since I've been on the phone, I mean on this call, my oldest son knocked on the door like, Miss Tanya just wanted to let you know she made it back in town safe. One of my neighbors, so it's like we practice the village principles around here.
Correct.
I go out of town and the kids are here. They're like, we don't need a babysitter, but my other neighbor comes and watches them, make sure she drives them to school, picks them up from school. I'll leave my car for her to do those things. So I say that to say, we are each other's eyes and ears, and we are each.
And remember I told you, and so we build on you. So you'd be like, oh, let me do a podcast on how you can help your neighbors because the same thing is that she could be a killer or that person could be that. Whatever makes people fearful of saying, yeah, you might can't just do what I do. Maybe we know her husband or whatever, because some people like, oh, you told me that we should be neighborly and my son went down there and he was being raped by that man, or he was. So we know better, we do better, right? So we know that certain things that's happening in our village that we can put protection around, because you can always control the village yourself when you have power. Like no woman would get beat up. If you was a woman and some man was hitting on you, it's because he know he can get away with hitting on you. So when I hear abuse stories, because I was shocked, guys. I mean, because my mother had 10 kids, I had 4 brothers. When I even grew up older as a like maybe my 1920, people would come to me like, we ain't deal with you, the twins would do with XYZ. So I didn't know my brothers had that effect on guys. Now I'm in college, I have girlfriends that's been beaten. I was like, how did that guy hit you like that? What happened? And then
Yeah,
and then she goes, but keep going back and forth to him
stupid.
because he ain't got nobody that would come up in and whip his behind. Because
Hmm.
if that guy knew that he could not hit on that girl, and somebody would have showed up and did something to him, you wouldn't have men beating on women.
Look at
I can
Shaka.
tell that for the fact.
I told Shaka, if you've ever watched Scandal, I'm like, Shaka's my hook. Because they say I'm
Yes.
Olivia Pope. They be like, she be fixing things behind the scenes. But
Yeah,
Shaka's
that's that. I don't tolerate that. Period. I just don't have no concept of um a man getting physical with a woman. I have no understanding of it, and I don't want no
Mhm.
understanding of it.
Right.
And just like Eartha was saying back in the day, if the neighbors was getting beat, and she went and got her brothers, they was coming to bring correction to your ass. You know,
Yes.
straight up, no second chances, no warnings. You got your warning when you came in the house and started dating. That was it right there. So once that phone call is made, that's that.
yeah. I was
And then
dating.
men can teach men to walk away. I have had friends, male friends of mine, that I literally say, look, man, come to my house, lay on the floor. Because society, it doesn't work like that. She's gonna call the police, they're gonna drag your little ass out there, they're gonna do this,
Mhm.
that. So I'm educating him on the system. See, I don't know, I ain't telling you whether she right or wrong, but I'm telling you, as a black man, walk away.
Yeah,
Yep.
Because the system just
Yep.
want one little reason that they can come and, like you said, shoot you in the back of the head or throw you up against the wall because she initiated. Now she mad, but you initiated because they know you didn't call your brothers, you didn't call the guy next door, you called the police. Why are you calling the police? I even told the lady that one time. I said, why are you calling the police? Well, he need to get the hell out, blah blah blah. Okay, well, let me call the brothers and I'll get him out. But she called the police anyway. You see what I'm saying? So those are the type of things that we have to be in the village concept, because The brother, like you said, men are emotional too. You got to get them away before they don't think first. So then, but this is the crazy part. After I did all that, they got married and everything. But that's a whole nother story. But
Dang.
but but they got help because they went to counseling. We got a council of elders here. We had people come in front of us, and we tried to help each other. So we brought them in and worked out their problems and this, that, and the other, because we have a council of elders here in Baltimore that we had people come and we work out conflicts resolutions, because we don't believe in going to the police. They're not going to solve our problems. They make it
I don't.
worse.
I've called
Yeah.
the police on someone before. I'm guilty of it. He threatened to murder me, pulled out a gun, called me every kind of bitch there was, told me that I was on Facebook too much. And
Hmm.
when I got out the house, I ran down the stairs, jumped in my car, and he was running down the street in boxer shorts. But the irony is, he never physically hit me, but that emotional abuse was there and I didn't see it. But I remember when
Correct.
I took him home, my uncles, my family from Detroit. So my uncles went and got the shovel. They were in the backyard, like, just say when. We gonna put him in this grave right now. And I was like, no. My brother took him out. My brother's been in a wheelchair for a while. And he threatened him with a gun. And it was all this stuff going on, but I didn't see it. So
Right.
it's
And
like,
you guys didn't see that it was a lot going on with him, because remember I tell you, people don't just wake up one day and be mentally ill. So
Right,
like you
right,
said, we
right.
but I
have to be able, right. Some people think that's love. So like if you're a type of woman that you like, oh yeah, he loved me so much that he would, some guy, who's that guy you with? Who is his name? Blah blah blah. They think that's love. That's not love. I tell people that ain't love. First of all, that's disrespectful,
That go
because
back to the
that,
village.
that
Like
go
we were
back to the village
saying, to the
concept.
village. That goes back to the village concept,
Right.
because when they see their parents getting whooped on, and they give them their parents, that's a sign that, my father loves my mother. That's why he knocks her out every Friday.
Mhm.
You know,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
they grow up, and they look at that if they're not knocked out every Friday by the guy that they're dealing with, then he's either weak or he don't love her enough. Where he was, it's like you said, hurt people hurt people.
Hurt people, hurt
You know
people.
what?
And then when we
You know
create
what?
the village concept, even you men, you will have a respect. You're gonna have respect that that's that man's wife. I'm gonna have a
Yeah,
respect that that's your wife. So we don't
but
have that kind of respect anymore. We like, oh shit, as long as your wife don't know, let's go over here around the corner, whatever, whatever.
yeah,
So it's like we build that respect for each other, and we understand we have to have talks and conversation, because that heals us, because we
right.
we are still dysfunctional. So once you say, okay, I'm not really held, then I work on healing myself, and I'd be like, okay, I'm doing this because I don't know anything else to do. I was raised in the Baltimore City school system. I was taught by my mother, because she was afraid. She got 10 kids. She wanted us to get a good job. She don't want us to be poor. She wanted me to work, work, that type. So I didn't understand it. And I didn't understand how to make money besides going to a 9 to 5, because
Mhm.
the way the system is set up now, I'd be like, shoot, I got skills out the bending. People call me, I drive, I take care of elderly people, I clean houses, I do trips, I do so many things, because I know now, oh, is that what it's about? Oh, I just got to figure out how to make some money. I ain't got to be at your job 9 to 5.
Right.
Right,
And
right.
I was just gonna share this piece with you. I know Shaka knows my story, but I live with bipolar 2 with psychosis. And I don't think that my world really woke up until I got a mental health diagnosis. I don't think that I
Mm-hmm.
got, when I got into that DV relationship, it was because at that moment in my life, I felt like nobody else could love me. All before that, I was, the jam, the jelly, and everything in between. But in that moment, he was the only man that could accept me, who could accept my mental health, and who could love me. My diagnosis was schizophrenia at the time.
Right.
So that was the mindset that I had. No matter what I look like, no matter what skill set, no matter what degree, no matter what certification, this is the only man that's going to choose me with this mental health. That's why I speak out so much on ending the stigma of mental health, because that stigma puts a lot of people in situations that they normally wouldn't be in. And it was my last breakdown where I always tell people, when you are in a mental health crisis, that psychosis is as close to heaven as you'll ever be. There's nothing to be. There's no responsibility. I can smoke my cigarettes and drink coffee all day, every day, and nobody's gonna question it because they'll say she has mental health. No one's gonna have to expect me to be at Morehouse School of Medicine like I am now. No one's gonna expect me to be mom of the year like am driving these kids to school and everything else. No one expects anything of you but to be crazy. They expect
Right.
you to cuss them out from time to time. They expect you to say things that are off kilter. But other than that, you're not expected to be a child. You're not to your parents. You're not expected to be a parent to your children or a sister or a brother or anything but mental health. And that
Right.
is
But it's
scapegoats.
funny because I do karaoke, and I have a young lady that tells me all the time. She said she's bipolar and her children have whatever. So the people at karaoke says, you got to do something about her. I just can't take her. I just can't take her no more. And I thought to myself, so what? You got to do something about. I'm always like I tell you, you can tell me your help. I always feel like we all got whole problem. So I'm very patient type person. So they were like, how do you deal with her? Because I got to deal with myself. Because even she tell me that she does all this sort of stuff, I think I got mental illness. So for instance, like you said, she might go off. I'll take her in the court. I say, let me show you how this thing gonna work. I don't know if your bipolar or whatever is kicking in right now, but we ain't gonna have this because we got company today. And she'll say, Daddy, she would got, and then she even got on the mic and sung the song and told the guy, F you, whatever. But I was like, I don't care, it's in the song, but it ain't. But you got to have patience with people, and you got to understand people do have mental illness. Like she got in the car and she went off, like you said. I got to have a cigarette. I got to, and I was like, okay, let me ride you around. It was like 2 o'clock in the morning. I had to find a place because I understand that people have to be able to sometimes do what they got to do to cope.
Yeah, I
She
tell people
she
all the
she
time, you want me to smoke
like
a cigarette or you want me to punch someone in the face? Those
smoke a
college
Right.
cigarette.
degrees don't mean nothing at
Right,
that
Right.
point.
Right.
right.
Give me my
Right.
So you got to be
cigarette.
patient with people, and you got to remind yourself that you're going through something, and the person you're with is going through something. Stop thinking that the person that you're going through is more crazier than you. Because me and her go back, I said, well, shit, I'm crazy too. Would you want to be crazy? We both be crazy together. Yeah, she like, but you just don't understand. I said, I don't. That's why I'm talking to you. I don't understand, but you go ahead and we'll try to, because those are the kind of conversations I don't understand. But what I do understand is that we got to get past this. Because if
Yeah.
we don't get past this, they already set us up to ruin each other. She
Yeah.
got two boys, and both of them have, I think I'm gonna say ADD or whatever she said they have. But I go get them, and she's like, well, they gonna do this and they gonna do whatever, you know, because her kids are what I consider like they might be 13 or whatever, but they have a mindset like a 7, 8 year old.
Mm.
But I can deal with them because I'd be like, they'd be like, hey, let's ice cream. I'm like, okay, well, sit still, or let's get the trash out first. Remember, I'm gonna get you some ice cream if you help me with the trash, that type. So I try to be like, I don't be like, man, you too big to be acting like that. You too whatever, I'm like, okay, this is what we're gonna do. First,
Right.
we're gonna take out this trash. And then we're gonna get some ice cream. If you don't take out the trash, then you don't get nice because I know the ice cream is what my holding point of them. And then they think, okay, we finished. Can we go get the ice cream? Yes, and put them in the car and go get the ice cream. So that's why I tell you, everybody got mental illness. But when we have a village, the people who work with children should work with children. That's what I still say. We don't be in positions. If you're not a people person, then don't be with people. Like I told
Right.
the people, leave her alone. I got her. Because I'm a people person, right? So I'm like, I got her. I take her home every night. They're like, why you got to take her home every night? But I said, because I feel like this is the only outlet. She wants to come to karaoke. She sings well. She need an outlet. So I pick her up and take her there and take her back home. That's a little I can do if I got the car. You know what I'm saying? I got the car.
Yeah.
So why we don't have a village car? Why the car is not just for me to have a car that I can just get myself to karaoke and get home. The car is a village car. You need a ride? You need a ride? Okay, we got a car. Maybe you can give me the gas and I got the car. So
So yeah,
that's why I said we're gonna redo this thing again because we got to really get focused, guys, on how do we not just play to play, but this time we play to win. So
yeah,
we get everything that we got, we make it bigger. Like you said, we're gonna create a media platform. We're gonna have this show. We're gonna have tight knit show. We're gonna have radios. But so now when people say, "Oh, So we can, just like they do, we can turn to all these different channels because these people are delivering the information that we need to strengthen ourselves to get the results that we're looking for. Because
Yeah.
how do you not get mental health when you got people that, like you said yourself, who's been through it? We got people who's showing people how to get over a lot of their mental anxiety. I go lay on the beach. I told people, I said, hey, they said, what are you doing? I said, absolutely nothing. How about that? I get so tired of doing things. Like,
Yeah.
that's
Right,
how
right,
I
right.
don't care how great you are. I get so tired. And I be like, I'm going to go somewhere and absolutely do nothing. Twiddle my toes. When people call me, they go, well, what you doing? Nothing. What, girl? You don't never be doing nothing. I say, I know. That's why I took the day off and I'm laying on the beach and doing nothing. That helps me with my mental understanding that the work that we're getting ready to do is very draining. It's very hard. That's why everybody's not doing it. So you have to be able to take some time and remind yourself you got to get in shape. So when you do this, you're not the one that's damaging yourself, right? But you're
Hmm.
strong enough that when they hit us, when they punching this guy, we're gonna be taking them punches. When we got to
Yeah.
jump them hurdles, we're gonna be jumping them like they ain't nothing, ain't no hurdle around, you know. And that's what life is. Life is gonna have the hurdles. They're gonna punch us. They're gonna try to kill us. But when we in shape, then we win every time because we
But
prepare ourselves for the win. A lot of
but
people want to play the play, and that's why I told you when you say, "Hey, what situation we in? We're in the situation we just playing. Now it's time to win." I'm tired
yeah.
of playing. We're gonna win this time because we have enough resources and enough players and enough things that we need to do that we can win this game. Michael
So
Jordan, Kobe Bryant, everybody on the team now. We got
yeah.
all
So
the players on the team.
Candidate Harris, my apologies for interrupting you, but I want to make
No.
sure that people know how to reach out to you, and that the longest we can go is 155, and yeah, we've gone
Oh,
over
just
by
let me
almost
know
an
when
hour.
I'm because, like you said, I have a talk show, so I know the time. So again, I come on Saturdays on Radio One on the AM side at WOLB Baltimore. So you can go to www.wolbbaltimore.com and listen to me live on Saturdays from 1 to 2. You're
Okay.
welcome to call in. Always call in and join the conversation. That number is 410-481-1010. 410-481-1010. And then I'm on social media, Facebook as Eartha Harris. Eartha is going to be spelled Ertha Harris. And then I'm on Instagram as Eartha Harris Presents. I'm here in Baltimore. I do a local event, which is also used as a networking event in Baltimore at the Garage, which is located at 6 East Lafayette. We meet there every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Upstairs is networking. Downstairs, we have karaoke and game night. So we try to get a little relaxation and that in. And then the big upcoming event again is October the 16th. Here in Baltimore, we'll be commemorating the 28th anniversary of the Million Man March. Everybody is welcome. It'll start with a 6 a.m. sunrise prayer. Then after that, we have an 8 a.m. breakfast reflecting on people's stories. Then we'll have at that same location, which is called the Garage, 6 East Lafayette, we're going to have the Black Mall because this year we're going to focus on taking a better business approach and really getting our Black owned business the exposure and the support that they need. And then for you men who love to just congregate with each other at 7 p.m. at that same location, the Garage, there will be an all men meetup.
Mm.
And my number again, if you want to call me, for those of you who don't have social media, is 443-655-7198. 443-655-7198.
So, and I just want to share this. Right now, it looks like 5 viewers total on average. I think I get about 700 to 1,000 a week, but this show will probably end up on Roku because we are onboarding the shows to be on Roku under Our Black Media. So just like Stars or HBO has their app, Our Black
Mhm.
Media is going to have its own app where you can see the show as long as you have a Roku TV. Um,
Okay, sounds good. And send it to me. And like I said, we'll put it on our network. We also have a uh what you call it, a app on your phone. It's called IBA, Indigenous Business Association. And you can download this app, and this app will also send push notifications. So I'll be talking to you guys more so we can put all of this in the network and make sure that people can also use this as a way to create the solutions and opportunities that they're looking for.
Okay, great. Shaka, do you have any parting words?
You're muted, Shaka. We can't hear you.
Take yourself off mute.
No, I enjoyed every minute of it, and I still got to go on another show. I'm just gonna be on there for about maybe 20 minutes with brother um, Dwayne Hendricks Hill from down in Atlanta. You know who
Okay.
I'm talking. You know who I'm talking about, Chantaye?
Yeah, I heard of that name
I
before.
do.
Yeah,
Dwayne actually did my documentary for me. It hasn't been released yet, but he came and we videotaped for several hours. But he's doing my documentary. He also did the Wayne Williams documentary
yeah,
that was
yeah.
on the ID channel. And so
Well, I need his contact information because we
I'm
need
gonna
to
give
do a
it to you.
documentary too.
Yeah,
yeah,
I'll give it to you. He'll come.
yeah,
Okay.
He'll.
that,
Matter of fact, I'll see. Can he come up next month? And
Okay. Yes.
yeah, he's excellent filmmaker.
he's a
As
great
well as yeah, he's excellent.
Because I'll send you. Remind me. I'm gonna send both of you guys. I'll send you the. I made a trailer. I just never did finish it, and I'll send him the trailer see if he can add to it or just finish it up for. I made a trailer. The trailer is called "The Men of the March: Before, During, and After." So I'll send that to you so you can kind of get a drift of where I wanted to go with this whole story about men telling their stories and putting it in some documentary where people can always go to an archive and hear millions of stories of the Millionaire March.
Okay.
yeah. He's been
Okay.
amazing. He did an amazing job. I've only seen the rough edit, like it isn't edited yet. And the background story is I was incarcerated and I delivered triplets, and because I live with mental health, they said I had one, and really the
Mm-hmm.
jails for trafficking babies. So I've taken that on as part of my cause of being here on this planet. But he documented it very well, and so I recommend him to anybody. Great
Okay,
brother,
good, good. We need it.
all those things. So this has been Unjust. Thank you.
Yes. Whoop, whoop, whoop.
Thank you.
Very
We went over by an
appreciate it.
hour, but it was needed and great dialogue. And you can come on anytime that you want. You are always welcome here. And just thank you for the information you provided, the energy, the love of community, the fellowship, and just everything. We appreciate you.
I appreciate you too, guys. Appreciate you. Thank you.
All
Shaka,
right.
anything else?
No, that's it. That's it. I
Well,
enjoyed it, and
okay.
All right.
I'm gonna give her.
I cut you off. What'd you say?
I said I'm gonna give her all the information and stuff.
Yes.
As far as
Let's put it
Dwayne
out.
Hendricks and stuff like that. So put her on point with what we doing.
Okay.
Okay,
And it's the
great.
Fred Hampton Gun Club that actually wants to cover making sure that y'all are safe.
Okay, send that. Yes, definitely.
I'll send you his name and information, King JX and the Fred Hampton
Okay.
Gun. Okay. All right, y'all.
All
See
right.
y'all
Thank
next week.
you.
You're welcome.
Okay.